So how do you sort of, so you're back in Australia, you made the decision to obviously go down the Harvard route.
Mhm.
It's you reconnected with Jeff, which is fantastic, by the way.
Exactly.
You're in a new place, you're in a
Yeah.
new partner. You're going to make sure going forward that you're going to embrace this new experience with an open mind. You're not going to let those little cobwebs in the back of your head get in the way. How does then climbing the next mountain coincide with this? Are you very much climbing the next mountain, or are you camping midway to help others up that mountain?
I don't know. Like, if I'm to be brutally honest, I feel, like, genuinely feel like I'm ready for that next challenge professionally.
Hmm.
I think in my personal life, I'm trying to climb that mountain now with, the new relationship that I'm in. You know, it's great and challenging and hard and difficult and beautiful and inspiring and full of wonder all at the same time. Right? Um, but professionally, I can definitely say that I am ready for that next challenge, and I'm trying to figure that out. Jeff. Like, I'm really trying to figure out, what does that even mean? What is that next challenge for me? What
I was
is
going to
that
ask you. I was
next?
going to. I was going to ask you the same question because you like what you said, right? You've achieved a fair bit. You like what you said. You've been very privileged and very
Mm,
thankful
mm.
of the journey so far. I suppose like my question is that next challenge you climbing the next mountain, or is that next challenge helping others climb it? Or like what you
No,
said, you haven't really pinpointed yet, which is okay.
mm. I think I want to have, maybe just, somewhat egotistical, or because I want to sort of,
Hey, say it. We're human at
hey,
the end of the day, right?
yeah, yeah, I mean, gain significance. I haven't figured it out why, but I want to have a greater impact. Like, I want to have an impact, and I think when I felt like I've had the most impact was when I've actually helped teams, people, groups, communities, like grow, do things that they didn't think that they could do.
Mm.
Take them from where they are to somewhere different that they didn't know existed, or didn't know, that they could actually achieve themselves. I love that stuff. I do. Like, I really love um, helping people grow. I think that's my leadership style is very sapient based. It's about helping others be the best they can be, and doing things that they probably didn't realize they could do.
Mm. And
Um,
that's impact.
to me,
Helping
that's
us.
it. To me, that's impact. That's having like a profound impact on an individual's lives. But I think one of the cool things, right, is being able to do it in such a way where you're growing through it. Your team, the community, whoever you're interacting with, is growing in the direction they want to be going.
Mm.
But from a business level, those trajectories combine to actually get you to where you want to get to from a business perspective as well. So it's like a trifecta, right? So you get the individual's growing in the right direction, you're helping that. You're growing as a result of that. And then that's aligned to helping the business grow in the direction it wants to go.
Win-win.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy thing when it comes off. I can't say it happens all the time. I think I've
Mm.
had it maybe a few times in my life, when all three kind of come off. But
It's
to me,
pretty powerful
that's,
when it does.
yeah, very powerful. And I love the feeling. I love the feeling. The feeling's just, I don't know. You can get romanticized, with that feeling. It's intoxicating. Yeah,
Here's
it's
a
great. It's a
question.
great feeling.
Here's a question for you, Gus. When you say impact, is that something that you want to look back in life and realize that, hey, since I made that impact, my life has been great? I suppose what I'm trying to say is to
Mm,
you is that if I go to you, you didn't have the impact.
mm.
Would you feel the same way in a positive way?
You know what? I'd hate, personally, I'd feel like I haven't achieved everything I could if I
Didn't have the impact.
didn't help in some way. Do you know what I mean? And for me, that's impact. You know, like helping.
I suppose what I'm trying to say, I read an interesting book
Yeah.
by Clayton Christensen. I'm sure you know of the guy.
Mm.
He wrote a very fascinating book about how will you measure your life. Not too sure if you've had a chance to read that book yet.
No, I haven't.
So
I'm reading through. I think it's like the third time. I try and do it quite regularly, especially when I'm, in a challenging part of my life. I'm reading Marcus Aurelius Meditations again, and even
wow,
like it's just being a good man is enough sometimes, right?
I reckon.
And the only reason I'm saying being a good man is it's straight out of the book, straight out of meditation. I think it's book 2, right? So he talks about his experiences and what he learned from his father and his father's father and his uncles, and how it all combined to giving him the philosophical, principles combined into that as well. The understanding of what it meant to be a good human and a good man. Right? And like sometimes it's just as simple as that. Defining good's the challenging thing, right?
It is.
And we could have another podcast to define good in itself. But it's like sometimes as simple as that.
I suppose what I'm trying to say, Gersh, is that do you need the impact so that you can then measure it, so that then you've had a good life? Or reading Marcus Aurelius in terms of his books is a very much being a good man is enough.
I think being a good man is enough, but having the impact thing for me is my way of giving it back. You know what I mean? Like it's just fortunate, very fortunate, and sometimes right place at the right time. Sometimes doing good stuff. Sometimes just real elbow grease, hard work. Sometimes it's just fortune, right? Sometimes it's just, jumping off the cliff and growing your wings on the way down, right? Just taking those risks and just seeing what happens.
Wow. Jumping off the cliff without wings, that's a tough one.
You want to hope you grow your wings.
Yeah, you better.
But yeah, look, sometimes, I don't know. Like for me, impact now is kind of being able to pay it forward, give it back, help others grow, help others learn, share some of those experiences. And if that has an effect and helps someone do something they never realized they could do, or help them, in their lives in a positive way, then that's a pretty cool thing, And I think, I don't know, I'm kind of fortunate to have had the life that I have, being able to share some of that with someone else. And here's the thing too, like there's still so much more to come, but there's, I think for me, impact has just been able to, to help others.
More to come or more to achieve?
More to come, because I don't even know like what I want to achieve. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got that defined yet. I haven't got a hard set of goals, right? I haven't so these are the goals I want to, I just know that
it could be a monetary thing. It could be something intangible. It could be something else. It could be a tangible. It could be anything,
eh? Yeah, it could be. I mean, and that's where I guess where I'm kind of at, like right now, is that I'm in that state of starting to redefine a lot of that stuff, right? And really start to look at things,
great opportunity. A great opportunity.
Yeah. What do I want professionally? What do I want to sort of be moving towards? And I don't know, like this, it's just some crazy opportunities out there as well. Again, because we're privileged enough to be living where we live and have the opportunities in front of us, And I never thought this would be possible, but like I don't know, I don't know how or what shape or size it looks like, but I'd love to get involved with the Australian space industry, which is just taking off, right? Excuse the pun, but like it's just sort of started to take off now, right? But wouldn't that be cool? Like as a kid, I remember going, I'd love to be an astronaut, but not didn't think it was attainable, because it's NASA only. Now with the space industry, becoming more of a commercial enterprise and so much opportunity around it, and Australia being obviously a growing player in there, man, that'd be cool. It's like a boyhood dream,
And I know you mentioned in a previous conversation your interest very much lies in that sort of next frontier technology.
Yes, yeah. I think I was talking to a really close dear friend of mine this morning, and she actually asked me. She's like, "Oh, you're gonna talk about sort of, the tech sort of stuff that you get involved in and you're interested in." I said I would, but at the moment, that's become more of a hobby rather than where I see the reality of life, because so much of my personal life is kind of more of what I'm focusing in on at the moment.
Mm.
But yeah, I kind of love those industries that are going to be the, call it the growth industries or the biggest industries, for the next sort of 30, 50,
Space,
100 years.
quantum computing,
all that stuff.
electrification,
And
agriculture, food.
Exactly. Yeah, agri-tech, biotech, all that stuff, and just where even now the capabilities that we've got, in front of us just blows my mind. But, just with all the sort of personal stuff that I've got going on, I haven't sort of
Exciting.
been as active as I have been. But they're all the types of industries that I, when I look at and think, okay, what's the next mountain I want to climb? They're the types of targets I'm looking at, because I don't know anything about it. I wouldn't have a clue, right? But I know that, I've got the ability to go in and sort of, help people in those types of industries, because they have such a big problem, such a big challenge that they're trying to solve, right? And you just know that if you got involved, you'd find a way to help. You'd find a way to help, right? You'd always be able to find a way to help, And that, to me, the challenge around that is not knowing anything about those industries, not knowing anything about all, but just knowing that they're the industries that are solving the biggest problems that humanity has in the next 30, 50 years. So
it's exciting.
And so if you can do that, help people, and help people grow through that, and you get your growth.
Well, I like what you said, mate, in terms of if you can help people that you're with, if you can, that therefore helps yourself, and therefore you can help the organization. It's sort of a trifecta.
Yeah, it's very idealistic, isn't it? But that's kind of, I don't know.
I think human civilization was based on the idealistic sort of dreams.
Yeah, I think
and
so too.
and we're a species that can.
I think so too, mate. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of like, it's a would have been, if even last night, my son wanted to watch a bit of Star Wars, so we're watching a bit of Star Wars, and he asked me, he goes, "Do you think we'll have cities like that?" I said, "One day, yeah, there'll be something like that."
You probably said to him, "Not in my lifetime, but maybe your one, maybe."
Yeah, so it's possible, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's interesting. It's interesting just to sort of hear that perspective from him.
Which scene was it actually? Because when you say that, right, there's a scene in Star Wars that prompted me straight away about, wow, wouldn't that be something pretty grand?
So this was episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and it was, I can't remember which city it was, but there was like a city with like,
Oh, was it Tatooine or something like
that? It wasn't Tatooine. I can't remember which one it was, because Tatooine's a sort of desert city, but this is more of a, it was this night city. I can't remember where it was, but yeah, it was kind of cool. We could see like the flying traffic, huge high rises, and not a tree to be seen anywhere, but just like just a tech sort of cauldron.
When I think of amazing cities, I think of the one in Star Trek. It was the episode where an older commander went back to Starbase to basically infect everyone with some disease. Not sure if you've seen that one. And the city was essentially a planet. It was a sphere, and the whole city was built around this core, and you had like things flying everywhere. A city on Mars, essentially.
Yeah.
That Elon Musk is sort of working towards. So maybe when you think about it, looking at it right now from a commercial point of view, seems SpaceX is sort of quite far ahead. Obviously, you mentioned NASA. Australia's coming up with an organization, is that correct? Or it's beginning to ramp up in a way? Or
I think our space industry is just embryonic, starting to ramp up. You got the guys out of Brisbane, Gilmore Tech, that are doing sort of rocket propulsion systems, and robotic kind of surface vehicles for. I've got a few NASA contracts and stuff like that. You know,
Oh, wow.
cool stuff. But also communications, like space telecoms, is going to be big for Australia because of where we're positioned on Earth. But yeah, I mean, the our space industry is just starting to really come up. There's a lot of funding that's going into that particular area as well. You know, from government as well as, you know, from the private sector as well.
It does seem like a very interesting area where you can apply your skills in.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think
I'd love it. It'd be interesting. I mean, and I'm not sure whether it's, you know, whether it stays under, you know, the sort of consulting work that I'm doing now, or if it's something bigger than that. Like, you know, I don't know. But it definitely feels as though there's. I mean, we're in such a really interesting point in modern history, like history of the last 20, 30 years. I don't know if you feel it, but I definitely feel it. You know, like there's, you know, in a very interesting period. You know, obviously the economics of it all, and, you know, some of the turmoil that's happening around the world as well. But it's a very interesting period in history. I think, you know, there is massive change coming through. You know, you can feel it. You know, there's, you know, obviously the last couple of years has, you know, been tough for everyone. And there's a lot of change we got driven off the back of that. But it almost feels like it's rebalancing again now, you know, after the last couple of years.
And I know you mentioned in one of your responses, the world is very much very different now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And so it should be, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily, you know, a negative thing. You know, I think it's just, I don't know, just part of, I don't know, you know, part of sort of being.
Part of evolution, part of society moving forward. Obviously, we all have that insatiable need to for growth, to grow.
Yeah, I think progress as well, right? People want to progress. And, you know, over the last few years, you know, some may have felt they've progressed a lot, others may not, you know, depending on, you know, what the experience was like for you. And, you know, I don't know, for me, it was an interesting experience, you know, coming back from, you know, living overseas during the middle of.
I still remember our conversation over margaritas. How you got back just back in time.
Yeah, just back, exactly. You know, and it was really interesting. It's sort of a couple of years for me, like just moving around and kind of, you know,